What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling wonderful today. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just amazing, Cancer, and it keeps us going. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. So the purpose of this channel, for those of you who have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, wherever, Cancer, this one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old Moon. Sidebar, Cancer, when the Moon is rising, that seems to be the spot where I see her the most. So there's that, I found her. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and when she's going void of course, just all those lunar shenanigans. And don't be jealous, Rhonda. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you. Leave the lunar shenanigans with me. Never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. There's great energy all around here, Cancer. And Cancer, speaking of lunar shenanigans, the moon is going void of course today. The moon's going to be going void of course at about 5:53 p.m. and that's going to be Eastern time. Thank you. And then she will be moving from Scorpio into Sagittarius at about 8:33. So we're only looking at about a 2-hour, 30-minute void of course there, Cancer. And with this void of course energy, you know, it's a great time to just kind of kick back, relax, recharge your batteries, Cancer. Maybe dry yourself a bubble bath. I don't know. We're being extra lavish on this one, Cancer. But really, just like kind of treat yourself, do some meditation. Anything to just kind of help you where you can just kind of check in and see where you're at, Cancer. You know how I feel about how we experience all the zodiac signs all the time, going through different phases. It's a lot being a Cancerian sometimes. And so, yeah, just acknowledging that, showing yourself some grace, some compassion too when we're reflecting on whatever emotions we may have picked up or anything along those lines, Cancer. And we're going to give them energy to Scorpio today, considering they're still ruling most of the day. And with the moon being in Scorpio for a little bit. This is a very, Scorpio can be very intense energy. So you may be feeling a little more intensely than normal, Cancer. And considering how often we shift, that can be a little bit much. So this is something we do want to be, extra mindful with Scorpio energy. Sometimes that can, really get kind of, especially if you find yourself kind of locked in on a particular emotion, Cancer. But the thing with Scorpio, they're not just all intense. That intensity is meant to bring about a catharsis, an evolution. They're also about transformation. And so if you do find yourself stuck in a particular emotion there, Cancer, this can be a great energy to get down to the bottom of that. Really kind of, because, Scorpio is very resilient energy as well, Cancer. So you can get down to the bottom of this thing as it makes sense for you. Don't force it, Cancer. And really find out what may be some triggers or something that causes this, or that's got this obsessive type of energy on whatever this emotion may be. But also, Cancer, something to think about too, which I don't think is talked about enough with Scorpio. They also deal with like loans, shared assets, inheritance, and things like that. So this could be a great energy too to get more kind of serious sort of like foundation. They can deal with wills as well, Cancer. Maybe this is something we're not trying to not be morbid or anything, but I mean, Scorpio deals with those kind of taboo, what society would consider like kind of morbid, taboo type of subjects. But this is a time to, discuss things of, sexuality, the occult, joy, those type of more so, you know what I mean, Cancer? So work with the Scorpio energy. We got nothing to hide with Scorpio. Not that you could hide anything from him anyway. And then you got the first quarter phase here, Cancer. And with this, we're really about making decisions and really aligning our actions with our words. So whatever you set out for this lunar cycle, Cancer, just making sure that we're following through with that. If we are noticing any kind of inconsistencies, what can we do to change about that? And this energy is about being flexible and adaptable and finding the balance between when you're trying to incorporate this new thing into your everyday life. That takes a moment for that integration to work through. So just something to be mindful while you're manifesting there. I like that they refer to this, compare this card with that energy with the Magician. So I like that, Cancer. And then last few things. Hold on, let me get some tea. Well, I asked a few things. These readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And then the decks that I'm working with, I've included links from them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out. Oh, I actually forgot to put in one, Cancer. I'm actually glad I said that. So I have 99% of them down in the description box, so definitely check that out. But also down below are some other readers that I like watching Cancer, so give them a check out. One of them's a Scorpio, another one's a Cancer. So come on, Cancer, go show these other readers some love. But let's see which first card is here, Cancer. And interesting, look at you building this castle. You got the sixth card of Sagittarius here, which is the castle card. Look at you build some more like an Ooh, this is nice, Cancer. Little country home here. And with this card, this is the card of pride, recognition, position, praise for achievements, ego, wealth, ancestry, antiquity, history, legacy, architecture, power, prestige, isolation, the old guard, and timeless. Interesting, Cancer. And the energy that's coming through here is the praise for achievements. And I feel like for some, I'm wondering if it's an energy of if we're like looking for praise, for example. Let's say we've been, this could be maybe we're trying to look for some sort of recognition, maybe for some at our jobs. You know, maybe you've been putting in this more hours, maybe we've been learning more skills and things, and we're just trying to get some sort of recognition, or maybe even trying to maybe climb this ladder here, Cancer. But the energy that's kind of coming through here too for some, considering this is kind of dealing with like talking about like antiquity, legacy, things along those lines, it gives me a, just for some, that maybe there's this energy of almost like a needing for just to be recognized or something along those lines. You know, that there's that it almost like it's almost like that the achievement doesn't matter if there's no one around to appreciate what we've done. And if that's resonating with you, Cancer, I hope that makes sense. But if that's resonating with you, I feel like this would be a great energy to try to appreciate our own art, you know, doing it for the fulfillment of ourselves. And then let's say, for example, if we do like paintings, you know, and I feel that it's like, you know, if we're just looking for others to say that things are good, or you know that like, yo, you did a great job thing, and it's not that you didn't do a great job, Cancer, but it almost feels like that we're not fully appreciating the manifestation that just happened there, that you just tapped into your magician energy. It's like it almost feels like that energy of if a tree falls in the forest doesn't make a sound, but it's like, yeah, you know, because it created something. I hope that makes sense. I don't feel like I'm going all over the place, but I don't know, Cancer. Just feels like that there's this, and not that you're not grateful, Cancer, but like maybe like giving ourselves more praise for our achievements, for being the first ones to say like, yeah, I did that, and I really brought that, and like that, like good work, Cancer. Like yeah, like I don't know, Cancer. It's almost like, and it's not like an ego thing. It's more so just like a, I mean, you created something, and that deserves that level of recognition. You put in time and, you know, like an energy there. So I do feel like that, and maybe that's something too where it's like we're trying to balance out, you know, maybe that sense of ego. Maybe it's like maybe for some it's like you have this innate skill, but it comes like we don't want to maybe put it on display because maybe it comes for by bulk. Let's get a little bit more energy on this one, Cancer. This is interesting. All right, Cancer. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there she is. Ooh, both of them. Interesting, Cancer. All right, how fascinating. So you have the Emperor and the Empress, and the Judgment card, the Two of Stars, and then the Ace of Wands here, Cancer. And I almost feel like with this energy, Cancer, I almost feel like that there's this question maybe for some of just like like really kind of asking like why do we put our energy towards something, and if it's for the praise for achievements, where I do get that, it's nice to be recognized and things along those lines, Cancer, but I feel like that if that's what we're solely doing something for, then it's, I don't know, I feel like it's taking, and that, again, it's not that there's anything wrong with that, but it feels like that there's this, it almost feels like that that maybe for some it's like we're not doing what we want. We're just, it's like we're doing something that is, it's doing something because it works. It's not because it's fulfilling, if that makes sense, Cancer. It feels like that there's this, it's where you see like how, I wish I had a good example for this, Cancer. It's almost like, say, like for example with like YouTube, how you'll see, it's one thing to take the same like tarot for example and make it your own, but like okay, like those workout ones, you'll see people talking about like different, the same kind of thing but slightly different ways, but it's still the same type of energy, like there's no individuality there, and that's what it kind of feels like. It's like it's not really sticking with this authentic self is what it kind of feels like. I don't know, Cancer, feels almost kind of forced here, and I'm let me a little bit more with the Empress here. Because I feel like that maybe for some too, that maybe that, because just considering this Empress in Emperor coming up here, that because that's pretty aggressive, it almost feels like that there wasn't this, maybe this, again, this recognition even from like a mother figure or even like a father figure, for maybe even both, since they both came up here, and there's a change that's maybe for some here that's trying to happen, and it's like it feels like it's when we get to like talking about Pluto energy with Judgment, that's dealing with Scorpio, Pluto. I'm sorry, that just all kind of came together there, but when you get into Pluto energy, that's talking about transformation. That's that real kind of intense side of Scorpio, that transformation, evolution, rebirth, afterlife, things along those lines, and even the sense of, let me get a little bit more on the Empress, Cancer. Okay, Cancer, let's see what we got here. So we got the Five of Wands and the Queen of Stars here, Cancer. It almost feels like with this energy here that there's a need to, just if we've been doing things like, again, I still get this energy of it's just like questioning why we're doing something, Cancer. It may not even just be for achievements, but it's just like if we're doing something that almost feels like it almost feels like it's like somehow in some way sort of like compromising how we want to, how we're doing stuff, or it's like how we might, like it's like doing a job that we, because it's one thing to just like where we need to get a job to have like the resources and things, kind of keep out, if you need to get your head above water, you're like a side gig, but it's more so like that this is something where it's like we really don't like what we're doing to accumulate these resources. There's this, it's like this it's almost like this draining on drainage on like the energy here, something along those lines, maybe for some, Cancer, but it's it's very fascinating here. Maybe even for some, considering that the Emperor and the Empress is here. If we're dealing with some sort of love thing, and maybe we're dealing with either type, because either, and again, not a gender specific reading, but it's just like if there's this imbalance here where it's just like maybe for some, it's like we have this. someone who needs this constant recognition, or this need for just like to, I'm not sure, Cancer. It seems like it's taken a lot, like it's like it gives me a very sort of leeching type of energy, or something really kind of exhausting. Maybe if we're in something like that, I feel like that maybe with the Judgment being here, there's maybe need to just kind of evaluate things, pay attention to this flow. Things aren't feeling, how much are we bending over backwards here for, to like compromising for ourselves to maybe even like people please or something along those lines. Interesting, Cancer. Hmm. Yeah, that's a quite a start there, Cancer. Let's see what are some. Not this was already a big old challenge, but let's see what maybe some challenges, Cancer. Add a little more to this story. Hmm. Interesting, Cancer. Oh, it's one more. Okay, so you have the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Stars, which is a sidebar, Cancer. The stars are pentacles, and then what is it? The other one is wands, crystals, and then the crystals are swords. But you have the Seven of Cups and the Seven of crystal or stars here, and then you have the Ace of Crystals, and then the Lovers here, Cancer. And it feels like maybe for some that there's, because if this is kind of a love thing, Cancer, this feels like it's, because the Seven of Cups for me can be, we're getting into tricky territories with the Seven of Cups sometimes, because this could be where we're getting into that escapism, Cancer. And I feel like for some it's and you're in a safe space, Cancer, but if we're talking with emperors and empresses and maybe even a Queen of Stars, and we're just kind of, but it's just with that need to just, I don't know, Cancer, feel better, something along those lines. It's just paying attention. And this could even be with like friendships and things like that. It's just like, how are we, what are we, because it's because I hope that nuance is kind of making sense, because it's like this, it's one thing to, you're hanging out with friends, you're having a good time, that sort of thing, and it'd be different if, yeah, I know, Cancer, you're just bringing the wit or something like that, really just kind of killing it that day, and just like, oh, look at Cancer doing the thing. But it's another thing when it's just like when we need when the focus needs to be there all the time, Cancer. So I feel like there's, if you're maybe dealing with someone like this, Cancer, I feel like that there's, I don't know, maybe you need to just kind of pay attention to what we may be investing our energies into. Maybe we've been kind of entertaining, again, this could be a lover, a family member, a friend, something that it's just like there's this need to just like kind of plant this idea of, or there's this energy of constantly like needing that validation or something along those lines there, Cancer. Very fascinating. But let me get a little bit more with the Lovers. Cancer. So you look at all these aces, Cancer. So you have the Knight of Cups, the Lovers clarified by the Knight of Cups, the Eight of Cups, and then the Ace of Stars, Cancer. And for some, I do feel, and I'd never tell you what to do, Cancer, but there may be for some, if you've been thinking about maybe this energy of like, I don't know, it's like it seems like with this Lovers too, it's like there's a decision that's needing to be made, Cancer, where it's like are we going to stay with something and keep maybe exactly spending all these energies and tap into these feelings or things, or are we going to maybe think about and it doesn't necessarily feel like that you have to cut them off, Cancer, if we're, if this is like a friend or something. It's just like maybe we just put a boundary. It's just like, hey, being a Cancerian, I feel a lot, and sometimes what you're bringing is it's too much. I want to be that person for you all the time, but I can't. Like it's just like we could do maybe kind of schedule this thing out a little bit, because even with all these aces that are popping up here, it's like this. There's this opportunity to just like start some new type of things, to like, it's like, I don't know, it's just like this idea of just like how our energy, like where our thoughts are at, how this affecting our foundation, our health. It's just like it's all kind of adding up here, and it's just like it almost seems like too, just thinking with all these aces and the lovers being here, these could be kind of signals from like higher self. It's just like, yo, this is taking a lot, Cancer, and where this, we may love a person, maybe even love like a situation. This could be a job that's going down or something, but I don't know, Cancer. But yeah, it's just paying attention, I feel, to where we're putting our energies, and we may need to think about just like how we're investing in stuff, and maybe because again, like the Seven of Cups is just like there's so much going on, and then it's like the Eight of Cups is like we've had enough. Like it's time to, it's been an emotional roller coaster over here with the Seven of Cups. So it's just like, and the eclipses usually are happening in the Eight of Cups here. So it's just like what change needs to happen. Eclipses bring that radical change. Coupling that with the Judgment card, and this is Saturn and Pisces. Where Pluto's retrograde right now. So yeah, we're in some very reflective energy, Cancer. So definitely, kind of pay attention to this stuff if any of this has been resonating with you. All right, well, let's get some advice from old Pluto and Mars here. All right, Cancer, last little bit here. Oh, look at there, Sagittarius showing up a little early. And interesting, Cancer, got opposite signs here. So I do feel like that. Before we get into these cards here, you got Temperance here, Cancer, and Sagittarius and Gemini. They're opposite signs of the Zodiacs, and both of them are very, very active thinkers. And so I feel that there's lot to think about here, Cancer. But you got the last little bit, some advice. You got the Temperance cards, the Three of Wands, and the Eight of Stars here. And let's switch back over, because Cancer, right before or right after the Temperance card is the Devil. And so I feel like that this is if we've, I don't know, Cancer, because this feels kind of like, if any of that resonated with you, with that kind of like this either need for like this intentions of why we're doing things or whatever that is, if we're noticing stuff is throwing you out of balance or something along those lines, we want to get eyes on that. And because what's going to happen if going into a devil situation when we're are already out of bounds with the Temperance, it gets a little difficult. But at least if we kind of have eyes on this thing, when the devil moment comes around again, there we can see the opportunities for growth. Because if we ignore these signs here, Cancer, then we're missing the wisdom there. In both of these signs, Temperance and Gemini, very wise. But Temperance, Sagittarius energy in particular, they're ruled by Jupiter, all about that expansion and growth and things. So, and I feel that this is something where it's like maybe for some, if this is something that you're doing, Cancer, it's like it's breaking out of that routine, kind of fixing that. If just if it's something that's resonating with you, but if this is something where there's some others, it's like how we were talking about. It's just like maybe set up like a different type of schedule. It's like, no, we can't do this all the time. I gotta have some space to void a course and recharge. And because even if it's like a good friend, it's fine to want to put your feelings out there and things, and it doesn't have to change anything, but there does need to be that sense of balance there, Cancer. So just very fascinating reading, but something to think about. But I think I'm going to leave that there. So if anything resonated with you, Cancer, give it a thumbs up and share this, because because I get that, that wanting to. It's like just thinking this how the card was just talking about with praise of achievements, but just even just making those. It's very interesting, Cancer. But yeah, if you notice someone who may resonate with that, yeah, share this with them. And if you haven't already, have all these emperors. That was aggressive. All these emperors and empresses coming out there. Have them subscribe, hit that bell button, get notified of all these videos each week or each day. And then I'm on this meditation app, Insight Timer. And I started a group on there called Zodiacs Raising the Vibration. And it's just a group to post like positive affirmations, encouraging messages, things along those lines. And then as it grows, I'm going to start doing like posting different healing music and guided meditation, things along those lines. So we do like a self-care with the Empress, finding balance with the Temperance. I don't know, communicating with the lovers. Oh, that's kind of like that one. But definitely check that out, Cancer. And then while you got all this planetary stuff, well, you got a couple planetary stuff. Check your sun, moon, rising, your Venus, your why not check your Pluto there, Cancer. And then come on over to my other channel, Alchemist 8. I do videos weekly there. Got different things. It's a good old time. And all that housekeeping down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, Cancer, so I can get you out of here. Alright, so you got the Page of Cups here, Cancer. And I feel like with this, there's this energy of so Cancer, we have, and I was watching this the other day. It was another water sign, Pisces. And this is something about water energy can do. And this is something you got to be mindful of, Cancer. I was just seeing how these fish are kind of just like dancing around her. And just even thinking about Scorpio energy. Because we experience the signs so much, we do do understand their flavor, Cancer. And I'll tell you what, I've noticed what kind of energy I'm putting off when Scorpio energy is coming through. So I just feel that there's this being aware for some of just like kind of how again, like the intention of what we're doing, because I was watching this kind of this Pisces and that I had met, and they were definitely kind of casually working the room, very, very, very casually, and I was just like, huh. It was interesting to see that and that how that water energy can. It's very interesting because we do the same thing, Cancer. So just something to be mindful of. But let's get some, and again, that doesn't have to be in anything like salacious, Cancer. This could be, again, just in general, just like how we're even putting off like that nurturing energy, that's, I want to be just kind of flaunting that stuff around just cause, Cancer. Oh, and interesting. So you got the, I know this plant, but I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, Cancer. It's the Echinacea card. I'm going to have to look that up, Cancer. I'll get on that. But it's the 30th card, and it's the card of destiny, and that's in reverse, Cancer. This is ruled by we got their sign, one of the signs they rule, but this is ruled by Jupiter and by Pluto, Cancer. You got a lot of Pluto energy up in here, and I just feel like, because even just thinking about Pluto can deal with that, with power, and I feel like that influence. And I feel like that it is, who was I talking with about that? I think I was talking with Virgo about this, just like, but in a different kind of way. But I do feel like it's kind of being mindful of the influence that you're maybe spreading, Cancer, if that's if it's on your end, or if we're around others, and like seeing how they may be interacting and seeing how that is kind of affecting your destinies, like keeping you from change, is like keeping you from, because after the Judgment card is the World, getting to that last stop of the major arcana before we start all over again. But if we've been kind of stuck in some sort of, let's see how the snake's just kind of going in a circle here, maybe been stuck in some kind of, because I'm getting weird kind of Emperor Empress vibes too, like a strong indicator maybe for some like relationships. Like it's like it's not the normal energy that they give off for me. So this is very fascinating, Cancer. But just paying attention to that. I even feel like, too, seeing how you got the sun and the moon here, masculine and feminine energy is just something, a lot about balance here. So, I think I'm going to leave that there, Cancer. So, you stay safe out there with intentions and things. You keep eyes on the moon. And just let's maybe do some meditation, Cancer, just kind of see where we're at. And I will catch you on the next one tomorrow.